Hello aspirants, you're hearing to the aspirant voice. In this video, we are going to discuss about Trincomalee oil terminal deal between India and Sri Lanka. Before we getting into the topic, just understand I'm providing notes and the link will be given in the description. Here I'm making an explainer video. You're hearing the aspirant voice, and the initiative is the mains map where we discuss and analyze the editorial that is featured in the newspaper. You can like, subscribe, and share to your friends if you do like this, and also hit the bell icon. Now let's discuss Trincomalee oil terminal deal. The context is this Trincomalee oil terminal deal is coveted project long been and controversial. This project is being negotiated for 16 months now. 16 months. And to the end is Sri Lanka's Energy Minister Uday Gamapilla has commissioned Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, a subsidiary called Trinco Petroleum Terminal Limited. And this move follows the approval of President of Sri Lanka, who is Gotabaya Rajapaksa. It is approved and to set up a particular purpose vehicle. Of course, it's comprised of 99 storage tanks and 12,000 kiloliters each of the storage tank are distributed between the lower tank farm and upper tank farms. Let's understand this storage facility and its location. If you can see, it is in this area very near to the China Bay, which is located at this point. And as we discussed, the oil tank comprises of 99 storage tanks of 12,000 kiloliters. And also the oil tank comprises, the same. It is the same as in the context. And the Lanka, however, you have to understand that the proposal for the joint development of this tank was envisaged 35 years ago in the Indo-Lanka agreement, which is signed in there 1987. However, things hardly moved until 2003. Until 2003, when Indian Oil Corporation set up its Sri Lankan subsidiary called Lanka IOC to operate on this oil farm. Now the Lanka IOC currently, which is Indian Oil, so in Sri Lanka it is Lanka IOC, currently operates 15 tanks. And the new agreement is being negotiated for the remaining tanks too. That is the other 899 minus 15, that is other 84 tanks. So what can this deal mean to India? First of all, it strengthens the partnership between India and Sri Lanka. The agreement will enhance the energy partnership. Enhance the energy partnership between the two countries. Between the two countries. And it will improve Lanka's energy security. Lanka's energy security, this agreement may help to improve that. And also for India, this is a strategic location because Trincomalee remains in the spotlight as a potential transit point for international trade routes. International trade routes. And also it's a counterweight to China. From an Indian perspective, Trincomalee is an essential counterweight to the Hambantota. And Hambantota, as you people may know, this is the port which is being constructed, which is already constructed by the China in Sri Lanka. And the accessibility will be easy as it sits on a natural deep water port of Trincomalee. An Indian Ocean location, that is, these oil farms are some of the busiest shipping routes on Indian Ocean. As we're discussing, let's understand the Indo-Lankan agreement, which is signed in the year 1987. This is also popularly known as Rajiv Jayawardene Agreement, then Sri Lanka's president and India's prime minister. So basically, in this Indo-Lankan agreement, It tried to address three contentious issues of that time, even now too. That is the strategic interests and people of Indian origin in Sri Lanka and rights of the Tamil minority in the Sri Lanka. And this agreement established the Indian Peacekeeping Force, that is IPK. Sorry, Indian Peacekeeping Force (IPKF) in Sri Lanka. And under the terms of this agreement, the Sri Lankan forces would withdraw from the north, and the Tamil rebels would disarm. At that time, the Tamil rebels would disarm, and the agreement was designed to resolve the Lankan civil war, that is between L- Lanka Tamil Tigers versus Sri Lanka army. There used to be a civil war at that time. So this meet agreement was designed to resolve the Sri Lankan civil war by allowing the 13th Amendment of Sri Lankan Constitution. Sri Lankan Constitution. Now let's understand relations between India and Sri Lanka that are in a nutshell. The first and foremost is Kachativu Island problem. India ceded the uninhabited island to Sri Lanka, to southern neighbor, in 1974 under conditional agreement. In many cases, however, the fishermen's difficulty arises from a fight at home rather than from the point of view between India and Sri Lanka. And also the 13th amendment to the Sri Lankan constitution. It was Indo-Sri Lankan agreement, a result of the Indo-Sri Lankan agreement. As I said, it provides for the delegation of vital powers to the provincial councils to meet the simple call of the Tamil people for equality, justice, peace, and administration in a united Sri Lanka. And the provisions of this agreement were incorporated into the Sri Lankan constitution through 13th amendment. Then tracing from Sri Lanka, that is Sri Lanka recently received subsidies from tripartite partnership with India, Japan. The partnership tripartite means three parties, right? So one Sri Lanka, second India, and third Japan. And also China, sorry, not China. So for its from Japan, for Sri Lanka's East Container Terminal project in Colombo Port. East Container Terminal project in Colombo. So this port, and thus addressing their domestic problems. Next one, the China's intervention. China's rapidly evolving financial footprint, that is in Sri Lanka, and it is weighing on India-Sri Lankan relations also. China is already the largest investor in Sri Lanka. China is also one of the most significant export locations of Sri Lanka. And China is coping with Hambantota port. Hambantota port of Sri Lanka, and the port is considered part of China's pearl necklace strategy. Now let's discuss some recent developments between India and Sri Lanka relations. The first one, the four pillar initiative. After COVID-19 pandemic, Sri Lankan economy has disrupted. At that time, India and Sri Lanka made this four pillar initiative, which included the line of credit, foreign exchange agreements, modernization projects such as Indian housing projects, and Indian investments in Sri Lanka. In that way, this four pillar initiative would help India to better its relation with the Sri Lanka and to avoid China's influence on Sri Lanka. Next one, the joint exercises. So India and Sri Lanka carried out joint military, that is Mitra Shakti, the military exercise. This is military exercise. And Slanex. This is naval exercise. So these are the joint exercises being done by India and Sri Lanka. And of course, they are participating in the clusters like Sri Lanka is also a member of regional cluster of BIMSTEC and SARC, in which India plays a leading role. And the Saga vision, India and Sri Lanka both look at Indian Ocean with same perspective. And also, Sri Lanka supports India's concern for the security of Indian Ocean with its neighbor first policy. Neighbor first policy. And also the Saga, that is security and growth for all in the region. Now let's conclude this topic with the way forward. The neighborhood policy with Sri Lanka is essential for India to protect its strategic interests within the region of Indian Ocean. And the India's foreign policy towards Sri Lanka as a part of island diplomacy must also evolve in line with emerging realities and threats. And the two countries can work together to boost private sector investment to build economic resilience. And the two countries can also work together to boost private sector investment to build economic resilience. This is all about Trincomalee Oil Terminal and of course India Sri Lanka relation. I hope you do like this video. If you do like this video, please share it to your friends and do subscribe the channel. And also the notes will be provided in the website. The link will be given in the description. Thank you.